let's rock and roll. Lately, I feel like everything I hear is that time is everybody's scarcest resource. I mean, look, most of us are always looking for abundant ways to get more money as well. But what I'm hearing when I talk to people at the moment is that time is the thing they're feeling the most scarce about. So in prepping for today, many of you got an email that has a PDF called Kick-Ass Guide to Goal Setting. If you didn't get that email, if you weren't pre-registered, it's in the chat. And I'd love you to download that and have it. And it's a pretty long thing. I think it probably took me about an hour to go over it, even though I already was familiar with this stuff. So it may take some of you guys longer. And I said to myself, no one's getting off this training, going back, reading that, doing all this stuff, because none of us ever do, right? Particularly if time is our scarcity right now. So my goal in all of this is to take what's in this guide, which is a Keller Williams training class that really focuses on setting goals around the ideas and the principles of the one thing. My thought about today is to really condense this down so that it's things you can either be scribbling on a piece of paper while I'm talking or later on the back of an envelope. I did this morning. This is a 135 or a GPS, and we're going to talk about some of the language stuff in a minute. But I'm a big believer that almost anything you can do on the back of an envelope. And then I'm a big fan of just taking a picture of that and having it in my phone so that I don't have to worry about where I put it. So that's really what I want you guys to do. I don't want you to take copious notes that you're going to refer to later, because newsflash, you're not. I want you to have access to this guide, because the one thing that I really will want you to go back to, and I don't care if you do it on a piece of paper, in fact, the back of an envelope or the guide, but you don't have to remember this for now, but in here, there's an exercise called the 411. If you take one thing away from this, it's that I do want you to take your scribbles today and put them in a 411. I'm going to talk about what that means. That's the one thing I want you to take from today. The second thing, and I know there's only supposed to be one thing. The second thing is I want you to be able to do this GPS or this 135 on a piece of paper, on a napkin, on the back of an envelope, anytime. And it becomes something that anytime you have an idea, you do a 135 very easily, and it can be life-changing. So everybody ready? We're going to kind of go fast, going to be high energy. I hate having my screen shared because I can't see everybody's faces. So I'm going to share it a little bit in the beginning. Then I'm going to turn that off, and we're going to do some interactive things together so that you guys walk out of here with some scribbles on a page that are meaningful. Does that sound good? Okay.
Yeah.
So the first thing I want to do is make my slides move. There's three bits of language that I want you to understand. So if there's some people on here that aren't KW agents, you'll find that, like most companies and ecosystems, as they like to say here at KW, there's certain language things that we all adopt that we talk about like everyone knows what we're talking about, and not necessarily. So let's kind of just define, really there's three things. Number one, big rocks. We're going to talk about that more in a minute, but it's really the concept of the main big things that are important in your life, that if they don't happen, your life stinks. Okay, so concept, big rocks. 411, that's the document that I mentioned earlier, that is going to be your best aid in helping you time block and make sure you do tackle your big rocks. And it's not time consuming at all. You could probably do it in 10 minutes a week, maybe less. So big rocks, 411s. Here's where I always get confused in Keller Williams lingo, because people talk about a GPS and a 135. It took me, I don't know, 10 years in the company to figure out the same thing. GPS stands for Growth Planning Systems, I believe. I like to call it the 135. but in your notes, put those together, because if you do go back and refer to the big pamphlet that I gave all of you guys, they're going to refer to it more as a GPS. And then, you know, I jokingly put that fourth one on their back of an envelope, because honestly, that's where you should be doing most of this stuff. Okay, so let's start with this concept of big rock. I'm going to have you guys watch, it's about a 1.5, 2-minute video. And I think it's a nice visual on how this is going to help you with your goal setting.
There's a well-known story about a university professor who wanted to make a point about how we make the most of our time. The professor stood before his class with some items in front of him. When the class began, without speaking, he picked up a large empty jar and proceeded to fill it with rocks about 2 inches in diameter. He then asked the students if the jar was full. They agreed that it was full. So the professor then picked up a box of pebbles and poured them into the jar. He shook the jar lightly and watched as the pebbles rolled into the open areas between the rocks. The professor then asked the students again if the jar was full. They chuckled and agreed that it was indeed full this time. The professor picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar. The sand filled the remaining open areas of the jar. Now, said the professor, I want you to recognize that this jar signifies your life. The rocks are the truly important things, such as family, health, and relationships. If all else was lost and only the rocks remained, your life would still be meaningful. The pebbles are the other things that matter in your life, such as work or school. The sand signifies the remaining small stuff and material possessions. If you were to put sand into the jar first, there is no room for the rocks or the pebbles. The same can be applied to your lives. If you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, you will never have room for the things that are truly important. Pay attention to the things in life that are critical to your happiness and well-being. Take time to look after your health, play with your children, go for a run, write a letter to your grandmother. There will always be time to go to work, clean the house, or watch TV. Take care of the rocks first. The things that really matter, set your priorities. The rest is just pebbles and sand.
Have a lot of, most of you guys seen that before? Is that new for anybody?
New for me.
Okay.
What's going on, guys?
Similar.
Today's video is going to be on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People
Hold on, make
by
that go
Stephen
away.
Covey. Now, this book has touched millions of people's lives.
Okay. It looks like I saw some yeses and some nos. I've seen that done live, and I think the other thing that people often put in there even is water, right? There's even still room between those little bits of sand, and then there's water in there. And the visual that's very profound is if you put the water in first and it's full, and then you try to put the sand, the water overflows, and then you try to put the pebbles, and of course the water overflows. So in doing goal setting, what we always want to do is think of the big rocks first. You know that feeling when you get up and you say you're not going to do it because you're going to exercise or you're going to eat right or you're going to pack yourself a healthy lunch, but you just look at those emails, just quickly you're going to look at those emails before you go for that run or make your healthy lunch or whatever. What often happens when you do that? Anybody?
The things you wanted to do fall to the wayside and you don't have the time to do them.
Right. You just start reacting to what everybody else is firing at you. So I think of that as the water and the sand. It doesn't mean those things in there aren't important and that you don't need to do them. But just like the sand fit in there, if you put the rocks first, we really want to focus on the rocks. All right. Now we speak the language, right? So what we're going to talk about today is that first you want to try to set your long-term goals. This system talks about 5-year goals, which I happen to like a 5-year, a 3-year, and a 1-year. Doesn't matter, but the things that are far out there that would make your future bigger, that would make your future a home run, that would, and you know, I think when for couples particularly, like we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff in a work setting, but it's very powerful as couples to take time and say, well, what would be a home run in 5 years? You know, for me lately, I've been saying that one of my big goals is a beach house. So I know that's a conversation my husband and I have often. For many people, it's a trip. For many people, it might be philanthropic goals. Whatever your big goals are, it's kind of amazing how many people don't take the time to talk about and think about what those big goals are. Why is that important? Because once you have your big goals, then you can start to chop it up into your smaller bites, which are in the category of the 1-3-5, which I'm going to do here. We'll show you how you do that. And then you decide what are the big rocks. And those are what's going to go on your 411 to make sure that you're time blocking for that every week. Also important, you want to make sure, and I think it's the most important, and I love that it's number one on here, is time to recharge, rest, and relax. I think a lot of people in this industry say, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. I'm one of those people that likes to be busy. I like to go all the time. I don't mind if I'm at the beach doing my emails. I don't mind if I'm multitasking while I run. I don't mind if I'm working 7 days a week. It's okay. I like it. I get that. And in our business, it's very hard not to be that way. But I really believe if you don't take time to recharge, rest, and relax, there's a high burnout in this industry. You know, there's a lot of people that are self-medicating when they leave work because they never leave, so they're always stressed. So think about it. Your phone would stop working if you didn't charge it every night. You need to do the same to yourself. In our business, it's very difficult to say, fine, I'm going to take a day off and stick to it. It's very difficult to take a weekend off and stick to it. It's very difficult to completely be off when you're on vacation. But there are a lot of things you can do to help that. I think we all agree, if Broadway was still happening, if you paid a lot of money to go to a Broadway show, what are the chances that you wouldn't take a phone call in the middle of the show? They're pretty good, right? If in real estate, you force yourself to take time off by putting things in a space, it's the best way around it. Most of us don't have a difficult time saying to a client, you know, I'm not going to be available between 1 and 4 tomorrow. I'm going to be at a matinee at a Broadway show. People would just accept that you're not going to call them back. So find reasons to book time commitments with yourself, and make sure you do get that time off. It's the only way to stay creative, and it's the only way to stay charged up to continue to grow your business. If all you're doing is doggy paddling to manage the deals that you have, you don't even want more deals because you can barely deal with what you have. So you've got to set that time to recharge. Also, we want to think about both personal goals, of course, and business goals. And in business, you'll find that there are some things that if you did them, everything else would really become easy. So we want to make sure we focus on the biggest things. Planning your time, that's of course what we're going to talk about a lot, just time blocking and learning to hold yourself accountable to the things that are most important. So these are the exercises that are in your booklet. I'm going to go through them very, very quickly, then turn it off, and we're going to do some together. The first exercise in there is really starting with some someday things. So someday professional or personal goal. Again, if you are a part of a couple or a family, it's great to have that together for the personal things. Some of the personal things, of course, would be going to be personal just to you, maybe your health goals, your exercise goals, whatever it is. But then there are many that will be relevant to the people in your life that you love and care about. And you certainly should do those together so that everyone's on the same page. Break it down: 5-year goals, 1-year goals, monthly goals, weekly goal, daily goal right now. This 411 is going to walk you through the path from your 1-year goal down to your daily goals and your weekly goals. This is just another form. If you do want to play with it, it's great to take it out and start to write them there. When we go through some today here together, you know, for a business goal, sure, it might be that you're focusing on a particular GCI, gross commission, or it might be that you're focusing on a particular number of transactions. You might have a business goal, and in fact, I hope most of you do, that revolves around time off. Now, that might sound like a personal goal, but in our world, I think time off is a business goal. If you can leverage yourself appropriately, that you get whatever number of free days is important for you to feel recharged. That does become a business goal in our sense, because it takes a special skill to be able to do that. Okay, so this is where we're going to switch. This is that GPS that you can do it on the form, but I really want to be able to show you how to do it on the back of an envelope because I think that's much more meaningful and easy for you to do anywhere, any place, anytime. So probably you guys will want to go off gallery view if you can and put it on active speaker so that you'll be able to see my board. Okay, GPS/135. Let's take any goal. I want you to get the concept, okay? Somebody throw a business goal at me. Anybody have a business goal?
Attract 10 new leads.
Attract 10 new leads. Okay, you know what? That is great. That is a goal. Let me ask the question differently. Give me a big rock, Zoe. Give me if we're here 12 months from now, and what would have to happen? Because if you had 10 leads, if a year from now, if you and I are talking and you had 10 leads, I actually think you'd be upset. You want leads, but what you really want is
Closed
what?
deals. Closed deals.
How many?
10 closed deals.
10 closed deals. I love it. So remember I said it's a 1-3-5. So we're going to draw one circle. Then we're going to draw 3 circles. And I'd love it if you guys have the back of an envelope. Play along at home. And I'm going to tell you what I'm writing here in case you can't see it from the screen. I've got 1 circle up here. I've got 3 circles, and then I've numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Zoe, you said 10 deals, right?
Yes.
Let's pretend that your average sale price is, give me a sale price, Zoe. What do you think your average sale price is?
800.
So, sorry, how much?
800.
Okay. And you want 10, so that's easy, right? Let's see, 800. Typical commission will be 2.5%. That's $20,000 each. You want 10. Would you be happy a year from now if you had 200K in commission from this gig?
That's my down payment for my beach house.
There you go. You'll invite me over for some sangria, please. Okay, so we've got our 200K in gross commission. Now, what are the 3 things, the 3 big rocks, if you were Zoe, that you think you'd need to do to get these 10 deals? This pen is no good, so let me switch. I have some ideas, but I want you guys to tell me. What do you think? What are the 3 big rocks that you'd want to jump on if you wanted 10 deals in the next year?
Sphere of influence.
Say it again.
Contact the people in your sphere of influence on Cater.
Love that. So you're gonna have sphere stuff. Okay.
Mhm.
What else, guys? What else?
Open houses, lead gen.
Love it. So I'm gonna go with open house. I'm not gonna put lead gen on there because we want to try to get specific, and all of this is gonna sort of be in the category of lead gen. So I'll show you. Well, yeah, okay. So give me one more. So if we want 3 things that we're gonna focus on to make sure we get 10 deals, we're gonna focus on our sphere. We're gonna focus on public open houses. What else?
Facebook ads.
Facebook ads. I like it. No, I'll tell you, when I did this morning for my dining room table, I had 60 transactions and I picked the 3 things that I would focus on: public open houses, sphere, and a new farm. Now, I'm not saying a new farm is the way to go. I'm saying this isn't rocket science, right? There were probably 5, 6, 7 things we could have picked here. So pick the ones that make the most sense for you. Okay. We've got our 1, we've got our 3. Now, let's try to identify 5 things that, let's talk about the sphere first. You guys can't see this. Let's talk about the sphere. What are 5 things we might want to do to take care of our sphere such that we're likely to get, 3 leads from it, 5 leads from it, whatever it is? What would we want to do?
36 point touch.
Okay, so I heard somebody say a 36 touch. So for the people on here that aren't KW, what we're just talking about is systematizing what we're going to do for our sphere to make sure that we stay top of mind, to make sure we're the first name that comes to mind when they need a house or thinking about a house or hear somebody. We're gonna come up with a schedule of touching them. We're gonna put that in our world, at least here at KW, we're going to put that in our command system so that magically they will get touched 36 times a year. Okay, so we'll devise a 36 touch. What else would we want to do to nurture our sphere such that we're going to get enough leads to hit our goal?
Offer them something of value, like refinancing information.
Okay,
Sure.
so value offerings.
Doing this is
How many times would you want to do that?
fight each other. She's gonna understand.
Maybe once a quarter.
Okay, that's just exactly what I was thinking.
Let's keep
So
it-
we're gonna devise a schedule of 36 touches. We're gonna once
the end
a year offer them something of value. What else would we do?
5-minute intense ab workout.
Listen, I am doing an intense workout. I'm cleaning.
Okay, somebody's talking about working out. We're talking about making money. What else would we do, guys? No right or wrong here. Just want to come up with 5 things for our sphere. I think we're going to want to call them, right?
Right, I would text.
Systematized calls, texts. Now, in theory, you don't have to have 5 here, and most of us would probably build this into our 36 touch and our smart plans, but it's a concept. Anything else we would want to do for our sphere?
Client party.
I was just thinking the same thing, Laura. Client party. Awesome. Let's come up with one more.
You would reach out maybe when there's like a event, holiday, card, how you doing, a follow.
So I think you absolutely would, and I think that would be part of our 36 touch.
Okay.
I'm actually okay with 4 unless something's jumping out at anybody. Let's move on. Now we want to come up with 5 things that we want to do for our public open house because we want to get some of our 10 leads there. What would we do?
Advertise, right? I would do a theme-based, depending
Okay.
on your.
So advertise, I can't even write, advertise the POH. I think if I'm goal planning for the year, I'm going to want to have a plan to make sure I have a certain number of public opens. So if you're an agent that has plenty of listings, that's great. You're going to know that those will come easily. If you're an agent that doesn't always have listings, you're going to want to plan to acquire open houses, right? So that might be contacting other agents that have a lot. That might be, developing relationships with people so that you can continue to get open houses. So we're going to advertise the open house. We're going to make sure we have open houses. What else are we going to do? What's probably the most important way to secure business if you do open house?
I think
Sorry? I'm thinking it's follow-up, right? So we're going to systematize our follow-up. Again, if we're using command, that's going to happen almost automatically. You're going to have people there. You're going to put them in your command. Don't feel badly if you don't have this set up yet, but you're going to put them on your smart plan, and that's going to happen very, very easily. What else if we want to make sure we get some leads from our public opens? Maybe someone would door knock or call a circle call the area, right? Door knock or circle call to invite neighbors. Anything else we would want to do? Or if we did those 4 things and had certain, enough public opens to beat our goals, would this likely net, let's say 3 of those 10 transactions? Sure should, right? So we picked for our 3rd one, Facebook ads. So what would we want to do? What 5 things would we want to do to make sure we got some leads from our Facebook ads?
I think learn how to use it first, or find out like what works, see which ones are free.
Okay, so I like it. Let's just start with learn. And then we're going to maybe start with budget, right? We know that when you buy them through command, because of the fact that we're Facebook's largest advertiser in any industry, we know that our ads through command are pennies on the dollar. But we were still going to want to set a budget to decide how much we're going to spend so that we can systematize that. What else are we going to want to do to make sure we have some Facebook deals at the end of the year? I'm thinking once again, you're going to follow up, right? Okay. Now, for the sake of time, we could certainly make that follow-up. We could break that down and make it 3, 4, 5. But I think you guys get the point, right? A 1, 3, 5 is pick one thing in your life. Decide what 3 things you need to do. What are the 3 big rocks to make something happen? And then make very simple steps for each of those big rocks. Does that make sense? What amazes me is that, this is a great work example, and we'll translate this into a 411, but it's hard to erase it here. I like to just show an example of how quickly you could do that for almost anything. Can somebody give me either short range or a long range personal goal? Make it fun. What
Vacation.
A vacation. Let's make it a big vacation. Where do you want to go? I know where you want to go, Jackie.
Oh,
You know where I want to go.
Dubai.
Okay, Jackie wants to go to Ireland, right? Right, Jackie?
Yes, I do.
Okay. How many days do you want to go?
10.
Okay. So that's the big thing. Now, what are 3 big rocks, guys, that somebody would have to tackle in order to go to Ireland?
Passport.
Okay. You know what? No, that's too small, because all you have to do is go get one. Well, again, we're going to go with something bigger. I mean, I'm thinking for most people, they need to budget, save.
Yeah, same thing, budget.
Budget, save. Okay.
Routing plan.
What was the second one? The itinerary?
Routing. Where do you want to go? What's the focal points?
Okay, I'm going to say itinerary. Why can't I spell it? I-10. Okay. Probably, what else? Anything else? Time off. You got to, like, save up and stash away some time off, right? Now.
And who's going to cover for you, too, right, when you're gone?
Okay, so I'm going to put that in the time off. So 1, solidify coverage.
Stephanie, you are.
2, ask Zecca to do it for you.
I'm in.
3, perhaps, discuss with employer. Anything else for time off, guys, or is that all you need to do? It's that easy. Okay. Itinerary. What do you need to do? You need to do some research, right?
Book your hotel.
Book hotel.
Airbnb.
Or Airbnb. Okay.
Lodging.
What else? You might want to invite someone with you. Also time off, you need to plan your dates, right? Itinerary, you're going to research, you're going to book hotels, you're going to book flights. You're going to need to get your passport. You did all that.
In there, where to go.
What'd you say?
It's kind of in the research side, but ask people that's visited there what to do.
Okay. Ask for recos. Okay. We do that. We're getting pretty close to this trip, right? So let's talk about budgeting. We would need to research, again, the costs, right? Let's say we decided that we needed to save, I don't know, $500 a month, whatever the number is, who knows? Let's say it's long-term plan. Let's say it's $200 a month. Maybe we'd want to plan some frequent flyer miles so that we'd strategically use it the right way. We'd research the costs, save some money, plan frequent flyer miles. Is there anything else we need to do with respect to budgeting, saving? Does everyone agree that if we did these things, Jackie can go?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not rocket science, right?
Oh, start a GoFundMe for Jackie.
There you go. Start a GoFundMe for Jackie. I love it. You know what? Yeah, we're joking, but the thing is, the power. Well, maybe we're not. The power of telling other people your goals holds you accountable. And the truth is, there are a heck of a lot of nice people in the world, like Stephanie Zecca, who said that, who want to see others succeed. So when you share your goals, people hold you accountable to them. some of you have heard us talk about this, but Alberto said that he wants to go to Japan in 5 years. Many of us are always asking him about his plans because we care about him. We want him to have what he wants. And it's a nice way of holding people accountable. So tell people your goals and your plans. Okay. So now we kind of know the first couple of steps, right? We have to talk to the people we care about and ourselves and plan 5-year, 3-year, 1-year plans. And that first sheet that I just referred to quickly, let me tell you what it's called. One second. I don't remember. The first one that's goal setting to the now, I hate the name because it seems to me the opposite of that. It's not really goal setting to the now. It's planning some of the big ones. But that's a good one to sit down and, there's all sorts of different categories, right? The trip is a personal one. There's a business one, but then even within business, there are several. So you kind of need to check to make a list of all the big goals. 1 or 2 are going to become more important than all the rest. So then we're going to go to the sheet that's called the 411. And this is really the meat and the potatoes of what you should carry around with you at all times. The overview of it. And again, it's in the packet that you guys have. If you only download one thing, download this. This one's harder, I find at least, to do on the back of a napkin, although you can. But this 411 is going to take your annual goals. It's got 3 personal and 3 business. And you're going to write your annual goals on this sheet of paper. And then you're going to make 12 copies if you're a copy person. If you're going to just make yourself a template or something to do this online, that's fine too. But basically, this top third is going to be the same unless for some reason one of your major goals change. So you write that down, make 12 copies. Then you're going to have a copy for each month. And what you will have done is you'll take one of those goals, and we'll go back to our 2 examples, and you're going to break down what you need to do per month in order to be on track for those goals. Now, Jackie's is a little easier, right? We said we needed to save $200 a month. So the personal goal would be trip to Ireland for the year. The monthly would be save $200. As you're going to go down here on the weekly, you're going to be carrying the same sheet around, and you're going to look back up at your monthly goals, and you'll say, well, week 1, did I save $25, $50, right? On the map. So you're going to say, did I save $50 this week? The second week, did I? No, maybe I didn't the first week. I'm only paid every 2 weeks. So there'll be a blank here. Yes, I put $50 into my savings account, and so on. The business side. So we had the business goal was 10 transactions, right? The monthly goals, it would be, did I manage sphere big rocks? You probably are going to have your 135 carried around with you with this 411 so that you can very easily refer to it and say, okay, yeah, my big rock, did I do 12 touches this month for my sphere? Did I hold 2 open houses? Because what you're going to do with these big goals when you make them for the year is you need to spend a little bit of time the first time you do this and break it up per month. So you would say, if I think of my 10 transactions that I want this year, 3 of them are going to come from open houses. You may say to yourself, then in Zoe's case, Zoe probably doesn't know yet how many public opens it's going to take her to close the deal because she's still relatively new at doing this. But over time, Zoe might say, you know what, I close 1 deal per every 3 open houses that I do. So if Zoe knows over time that it takes her 3 open houses to get 1 deal, and she knows she wants 3 deals, then she can figure out exactly how many she needs to do a month to stay on pace. If halfway through the year she said, you know what, I'm actually closing a little less than I thought, I now need to kick it up and I need to do 2 open houses a month instead of 1, or whatever it is. But she'll be monitoring it now on this sheet of paper. What most people do is not take the time to flesh out their goals. Then there's a much more highly advanced crowd that takes the time to flesh out their goals once a year, write them on a piece of paper somewhere, and do what? Never look at them again, right? Yeah. That's one of the nice things about Command is that that goal is right there when you log on. So at least the work-related transaction goal is going to be right there in your face every time. But most of us have other things in addition to work that are important. So, and even with that, that's going to be tracking money in the bank, but it's not really going to be tracking, am I doing the activities that I need to do to make sure that I hit? So can everybody see where this kind of is a good tool? So first of all, I'd love it if you guys unmute. We can be a little bit interactive. Would everybody be willing to take 5 minutes, and I would love you to pick one big goal. Now remember, think of the rock and the sand and the water. He didn't put water in his example, but I told you guys that. I don't want you to pick something that's a smaller pebble. I want you to pick something that's a big rock. And I want you to take a minute and do a 1, 3, 5. And then I want to have a couple of you say what you did, and we'll talk about where people got stuck.
Personal or business?
You can do personal, you can do business.
Okay.
Okay, so the big circle is gonna be what the big goal is. And I don't care if you only get the 3 legs of it, that's fine. Big goal, and then the 3 big legs that'll help you tackle that. And then underneath each of the 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, write what 5 things you need to do to make that rock happen. I'll give you guys 5 minutes.
Shannon, isn't that just what we've just done? We're going to do exactly what we've talked.
You're going to do it, but I want everybody to write one down, a personal one for themselves.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Because
Yeah,
I don't want everybody to leave here and say that was great and then jump on their phone and never really do one.
Okay.
Experiential learning, right? Nina, you look deep in thought.
Oh, I'm working. I'm trying to.
Okay, it looks like a couple people are writing. I'll give you guys one more minute.
Can I ask a question while everyone's writing?
I'd love that.
Circle call area. So how do you go about that?
How do you go about circle calling?
Mm-hmm.
You ask Maria to help you figure out how to use a coal resource directory, which you have to go on site to one of the market centers.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you can get all the phone numbers, etc. there.
Okay. In regards to the new program we're doing, if I'm in group with Allison, should I be reaching out to Allison now?
You can reach out to Allison too, because she's equally lovely.
Okay. And then another question, the 411, if we have the book from Bold, the Life by Design, the 411s are in there also, correct?
Yeah, I'm sure they are. And they're also in KW Connect.
Okay.
And in the packet I sent you. And I'm going to say something that I shouldn't. If there's some other system that works for you to keep your goals in front of your face, it's fine. The exercise is about making the goal, chopping it up in bite-sized bits, and then time blocking that in your calendar.
Okay.
Okay, so let's circle back. Did anybody work on a non-business related one? Anybody have a personal one they're willing to share?
Beach house.
Okay, who said that? I can't see. Oh, Zoe did?
There we go.
Okay, so talk us through what was the 1, what was the 3, and give us some of the 5s.
Okay, so beach house, number 1 is research neighborhoods.
Okay.
Number 2 would be, I need to have patience, and I don't even know if I did this right because I was furloughed from work. So I have to wait 3 months before I could even get funding.
Okay, so the big rocks. So 1 is research neighborhoods, 1 is sort out money.
And
right?
then the 3rd was budget, but maybe that's the same as, and under all of that would be down payment, mortgage, rental opportunities. So I don't know where that would fall.
Yeah, so there's no magic to there always being 3 legs, and there's no magic to there always being 5 legs. So I think in yours, it's research neighborhoods and sort out money, which is going to include, talk me through what you said there.
Budgeting.
Down payment, budgeting for sure.
Okay, so we're gonna need to save down payment. We're gonna need to budget.
What the rental opportunities for income could be if I couldn't afford it and needed to rent it out.
Rental income research. Okay.
Under the research, I put day trips, rent a few weeks down in different neighborhoods.
Sounds like fun.
Fun.
Just thinking about it.
Here's what we're not going to write: hire a realtor. Right? And if you were a non-realtor having this conversation, that might be one of them. Okay. Now, Zoe, let's take it farther for the down to the 411 then. So your personal goal would be buy a beach house. Now, if this was a 3-year plan and you did this exercise, you might decide that your annual goal, hypothetically, was to put aside $70,000.
Okay.
So that's where the other sheet with the longer range thing comes in, because then you're going to break it down by year. So let's just pretend, for instance, let's just pretend for yours that it is going to be to buy it in the next 12 months. So buy a beach house. The monthly goal then might be book 2 rental weeks. You said you wanted to rent, so rent some neighborhoods. Plan 1 day trip a month. Whatever that would be. And then each week you're going to be able to, say to yourself, did you do that? No, you didn't do that because you have it scheduled for the 4th week, and so on and so forth. But as the month goes by, if the top goals aren't changing, you're going to have to sort of get that gut feeling in your stomach if month after month you're like, yeah, no, I didn't tackle that. Now, there are going to be months, and right now might be one of them, where people are putting personal things on the sideline because right now the getting's good in real estate, right? So that's fine. There might be, Gary Keller always says life is balance is really more like riding a bike than being in balance. When you ride a bike, you think about it, you're not perfectly balanced. You go a little left, a little right, a little left, a little right. And that's why keeping these in front of you is so important, because sometimes you realize, oh man, I totally fell off the wagon of working out, or I totally fell off the wagon of eating healthy, or whatever your goals were. Maybe you can be a little bit more forgiving of yourself because you say, yeah, but you know what, boy, I've been killing it with my open houses and my follow-up, and I've really made a big dent in that side of my goal. But hey, next month, I got to tip the scale back the other way a little bit. Now, when you do this 411 and then you carry it around with you, most people find that it's really good on Mondays. And you'll notice that the entire leadership team is on this call because they were asked nicely to be on the call, because we are starting, that we are all going to be turning in our 411s every Monday, so that we make sure we tackle our big rocks, which is to serve you guys and grow the offices. So I think Monday is a very good discipline as you're planning your week. Some people like to do these kinds of things on Sunday night, some people on Monday morning. You need to time block in your schedule. That would be a very easy thing for all of you to do. If this time works for you, Monday mornings, 8:45, whatever it is, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, I don't care. Put a repeating thing in your Google Calendar that every Monday, whatever time comes up for you, complete 411, because that's going to help you then to plug in the big rocks for the week. Now, let's go back to the business example. We know that we need 2 open houses a month if that's our goal. Wouldn't it be great if your big goal in business is 10 deals and you know that public open houses are important? Wouldn't it be great if every Monday, one of the first things you did was secure an open house for the following weekend? That would be easy to do, right? You email, you pick, 10 realtors that typically have more opens than they can cover. Easy enough. Every Monday morning, you send an email to them, hey, Stephanie Zecca, how was your weekend? Hope it was great. Just want you to know I'm looking for a great open house this weekend. Would love to get one set up right away so I can research the inventory and make sure I know your property so that your seller feels very comfortable. Do you have anything for me? Stephanie, how would you feel if every Monday you got that email from an agent who was looking for opens? Would you ask them?
I would love that. I would love that,
that.
because that's like a substitute list when you're used to using someone and they're used to like what your pattern is and how you set up, and you have like, each other's expectations. So it's nice. So actually that consistency is awesome.
And I think agents like consistency too, for those who are looking for open houses. If I were still running my team and I knew that every Monday I got the same email from someone who was telling me they were going to research the house, know what they need to know about the house, understand all the other the other property in the area in a similar price range, I would be like, that's a win. I'm hiring that person every week. So it's very easy every morning to set yourself apart on that big rock. If your next big rock was to touch your sphere in the ways that we had written down, and you said, you know what, my 36 touch says this week I'm supposed to call everybody with the last name of A or W, and it's Monday, you're planning your week, that's your big rock. You're going to schedule time right then and there in your calendar to make sure you don't just get busy tackling the 2 things you have under contract, because if we spend all of our time tackling what's under contract, what happens in 2 months? Everybody knows, right? It's the roller coaster ride that burns us out. So gotta stick with the big rocks first, which is always about getting more business. The needs of taking care of our clients are so important, and most of you guys are so good at that because you're so responsive. No one's suggesting it's not important. It's hugely important. But there's going to be urgency that pulls you to do that. It's the finding new business and the lead generating things that are going to help you reach your goals. So it's kind of a put your own oxygen mask on first. Is that a helpful way to think about goal setting?
Yes.
I know for a lot of you guys from KW, it's not new. For some of you it is, But even when it's not new, we all fall off the wagon, and it's a really good reminder. We all should go back to talking about 411s a little more often because they're just so useful. So I'd like to sort of have a pact with everybody that just like your leadership team is going back to 411s, that you guys do too. And let us know how it's going. And if you have questions, problems, or struggles, reach out to any of us. We're happy to help. Anybody have any questions before we jump off?
No, Shannon, it was very good, very motivating. Thank you.
Thanks, Susie. I'll love it when you share your 411 with me, Susie.
You got it.
I have a question. Can I see what a completed 411 goal sheet looks like? Because I think I'm writing things in the wrong sections and getting confused.
Absolutely. Hey, Allison, if you're still on here, would you could you find one in KW Connect? I know there are some, and maybe share that with both market centers. If she's muted or had to jump off, I'll ask her to do that. Yeah, there's a ton of them in KW Connect.
What about a resource for us to dive into Facebook ads? And is there someone we could reach out, or a class on the Zoom, or?
Yes, we do have frequent classes on Facebook ads. Ron, do you happen to know are there any coming up?
Nothing that I know of, but at the top of every daily dose, there's a button for all the archived classes.
Yes, okay.
And then there's 2 tabs, one for Summit, one for Westfield. So you'll see my classes on the Summit class and side, and then Harjo has the, if you just look for her name and just find the Facebook ads on the Westfield side.
Great.
Yeah,
Well, and you know what? I think if you listen to one of those, and then when you come to the class the next time we have it, most people are going to need more than one time for it to resonate.
We have a social medias class on the schedule for next week. I don't remember if I put a Facebook page ad one for next week, but
yeah, so the 15th. Yeah, it says social media posts.
Yeah, so social media is on the 15th, so we'll probably do Facebook paid ads either Friday or the week after.
Great.
That's really
And the Scott Leroy YouTube channel has a class on a recorded class for Facebook ads.
Thank you, Kara. Yeah, and we're all here for questions and stuff too, but I think sometimes most people learn better getting an overview, and then you actually know what to ask. So you can always reach out to Harjo, Ron, Carrie, if you have specific questions, but start with some of those classes. Anybody else? You guys are fun. It's so much more fun to hang out with you than do anything else.
Thank you.
Nice to see everybody. Have a great weekend. Most of you guys I'll see tomorrow at our office meeting, 9:30 to 10:30, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Shannon.
Awesome.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, KW family.
Bye, family.
Good night, John Boy.
Bye.